What if the most dangerous communication trap isn't in the boardroom, but in your own living room? What if the way we talk to our children and young adults about money, business, leadership, and even humanity's future as a multiplanetary species or on Mars is quietly weakening the very next generation we're trying to prepare? I've spent decades mastering high-stakes conversations as a military briefer, an attorney, and a communication coach for executives. But the most important conversations I've ever had are with my own kids. Today I'm exposing a hidden trap that affects millions of well-meaning parents and leaders, and I'm going to show you how to avoid it. Now here's the trap. We either oversimplify complex ideas until they lose all power, or we over-explain with jargon and complexity until the kids or the young adults, they tune out completely. Both paths create the same result: superficial understanding instead of deep capability, temporary motivation instead of a lasting mindset, compliance instead of true ownership. I call this the next generation communication trap. It's especially dangerous because the topics that matter most, like financial literacy, entrepreneurship, resilience, and big picture thinking like becoming a multiplanetary species, require nuance. When we get this wrong, we don't just lose attention, we lose the chance to build the next generation of clear thinkers, creators, and leaders. Intelligent, ambitious parents are actually more vulnerable to this trap. You're used to speaking with adults who already have context, used to using sophisticated vocabulary. You want to be accurate, you want to sound smart. So you either dumb it down too much, such as money is like magic beans, or you launch into full executive mode with terms like compound interest, capital allocation, and first principles thinking. Meanwhile, your child or young adult nods along, but inside they're thinking, this doesn't apply to me, or even worse, that I'll never understand this. The result: a generation that grows up with surface level exposure but lacks deep framework. Let me make this concrete. When teaching entrepreneurship, the trap version says just follow your passion. The effective version uses stories, such as, remember when we built that lemonade stand? That was a business. Here's how we turned $8 into $32. And what we learned when it rained. When explaining multiplanetary thinking, don't start with rocket equations, start with, right now Earth is like one house. What if something happens to the house? Some families sometimes buy a second home or learn survival skills. Humanity is thinking about a second planet the same way. When teaching finance, avoid lectures on balance sheets. Use, money is like your personal army of workers. Some work hard, some work smart. The goal is to build an army that eventually works while you sleep. Here are the 4 principles I use with my own children and I teach to parents and leaders. Number 1 is simplify the core, not the truth. Find the essential idea first. Strip it to one powerful sentence, then build back with the stories and examples. Use their world as the bridge. Connect new concepts to what they already know, like games or sports, even relationships or their favorite shows. Number 3 is check understanding. Don't assume it. Replace, does that make sense, with, explain it back to me in your own words, or what would you tell your friend about this? Number 4 is make it a conversation, not a lecture. Ask powerful questions, invite their thoughts, let them struggle productively. That's where real learning happens. These aren't just practical or parenting tactics. They are high-stakes communication skills applied to the most important audience you'll ever face. The next generation communication trap is real, but it's also completely avoidable. The parents and leaders who master the skill won't just raise successful children, they'll help shape the future. If you want to communicate with more intent in the boardroom and at home, subscribe and hit the bell. In the next video, I'll show you practical techniques for explaining complex ideas to kids and teens without ever losing them. Drop a comment. What's one complex topic you want to explain better to your children or your teen? I read every comment. Let's build this together. Thank you for watching. Now go have one of those high-stakes conversations that matter.